Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Rainy day here. Um, so what's going on, everybody? Anything? Let's take our look at. Crazy. Let's take our look at gold and see what's happening there. And then we'll look at some baseball. All right. So gold's 23.71, silver 30.83. See, if you notice, the derivatives aren't as severe right now. So it went from midnight all the way till 10. It went up from 23.67 to 20. So it went up about $20. Then the 10 o'clock USA derivative always, it only went down to 20. It only went down like $10. Then it starts going up. Then another derivative at 2, knocking it down to 23.71. And then it's been playing around there. So you can see the U.S. Oh, we got to get the price down. It's all fucked because it's all the derivative. They're trying to make an option, and if you don't hit the strike price of the option, you lose. Silver at 30.83. I mean, that's all you're going to get for now. Yes, they make points about silver going way up because of demand, which makes perfect sense in a regular market. But this isn't a regular market. This is a fixed market. And it's a fixed market. I mean, it's not a free market, gold and silver. That's the problem. It's all manipulated, and that's what we're trying to understand. Why is it a fixed market, right? Sorry about that. Anyway, and that's why people don't understand it. You must understand what a free market is versus a fixed market. eBay is a free market, but not these comex derivatives are not free market. All right, so that's why I try to explain markets. Most people won't explain them. They won't explain they're all derivatives and they're all fixed, and that's the problem with gold and silver, and that's why people don't invest. Either they know they're fixed markets, so why should I invest? But we're really not investing in the paper gold. We're really trying to invest in the physical gold, where there is no real market for, which is absolutely ridiculous. You can't go to eBay because they're using the paper price to do the auctions instead of a real price. So it's insane here. Anyway, so that's what you have, and we're hoping that BRICS will break it and get out of the fixed market, out of the derivative market, where they're really trying to just play derivatives with the price. They're not really trying to get a real physical price on it. And they're not really trying to take delivery. It's a bullshit price. But that's the game. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about, let's talk about, well, I'm gonna write this down. We'll talk about it later. All right, let's do baseball. We'll get back to this. All right, so how did we do yesterday? Had a pretty good day. We lost with Baltimore. We won Cleveland. We won Philly. We hit the Yankees over 7.5. We hit Cincinnati. The mini game was postponed. We lose Milwaukee. We hit Houston. We hit Texas. We hit Chris Sale, and we hit the San Francisco over 7. So that's what we did yesterday. So it was a really good day. What was it? 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 8-2 with the postponement. And one of the two losers, Baltimore, is a 2-unit play. The 5-unit play, Frisco over 7, Texas, Houston, all gets the W's. So today is a strange day. We've had 2 games. One was a doubleheader because of, well, I think they both were. Minnesota, Chicago, and KC, St. Louis both got postponed yesterday. The White Sox win 3-1. Feedy against Ober. And KC went 6-4. Marsh against Palante, whoever that is, 6-4. Now we got game 2 of both of those, so we got to keep that. So here's Minnesota, Chicago. See, they're playing a doubleheader the way it's supposed to be played, right after each other. So knowing it's a 3-1 game, Chicago, and now right back, Minnesota's the 220 favorite and 8. Pablo Lopez 8-7 with the 5-1-8 against Drew Thorpe 3-1 with the 3-7-1. And so we see that, and don't know what to really make of it. Minnie's a large favorite, but I don't like Drew Thorpe or Pablo Lopez 8-7 with the 5-1-8. I'm going to leave that alone, and then plus it's on in 20 minutes. Chicago, Baltimore. Baltimore minus 185, 8.5. Shote Imanaga for Chicago. 7-2 with a 3.16. Corbin Burns 9-3 with a 2.32 ERA for Baltimore. So we're going to go under in this one. That's our first play. Baltimore under 8.5. So we'll go 3 units on it. It's hard to go under with Baltimore. They didn't score much yesterday. We had them and they lost. But here we're going to play them under because 2 good. Corbin Burns 9-3 with the 2.32. I'm not going to go against them. But Shota Imanaga 7-2 with the 3.16. I'm going to. So it should be a low scoring game. So let's go under there. Cleveland against the Tigers. Cleveland 145, 7.5. We got Tanner Bibby 7-3 with the 3.67 against Reese Olson 3-8 with the 3-2-2. I think the only way you can go here is under. Cleveland under 7.5. I'm not going to play it. So Brees Olson is 3-8 with a 3-2-2 pitching. He's inconsistent, starting to give up more runs, can't win because they keep pulling him. So he doesn't know how to win because they keep pulling him. Oh wait, we don't want you to face this guy. He might hit a home run off you. So why don't you? That's it. You're done. Tanner Bibby is a good 7-3 with the 3.67. Cleveland's got two very strong hitters and a very strong bullpen. So I think they have a 350 hitter or something, which doesn't mean anything. It just means on an average, if he's up 10 times to get 3.5 hits, means 6.5 times he doesn't get a hit. That's the problem with baseball. You think, oh, this guy's a good, he's a 300 hitter. Yeah, but he might go 0 for 4. So, and then I keep seeing these 180 hitters get 3 hits, and you're like, okay, whatever. It seems like teams don't know how to pitch to certain players, and they get hits. I don't see a lot of teams walking the 300 hitter to get to the 180 hitter. I'm not thinking I'm seeing enough of that. So I'm going to go under, but I can't bet it because it's Detroit, and they'll go over if I'm betting it under. Reese Olson will have a bad game. Who knows? Seattle and San Diego. We got Bryce Miller for Seattle, 6-7, 3.84. Michael King, San Diego, 7-5, 3.51. I'm tired. So I think I have vertigo, which is what Jason Day had in that U.S. Open. And it's little crystals in your ear. And it's funny because gout's crystals in your feet. So we must have a lot of crystals that as you get older, start going away, dancing around. Anyway, so what happens is you're fine sitting up, but when you lean over, when you go to bed and you lean on the pillow, that's when it kind of gets into the ear canal, and that's what all of a sudden the room's spinning, and you're going, fuck, I was just watching TV and everything was fine. I go like this to lay down, and all of a sudden everything's not. So I don't know what to do with that. It's good in the pool. It's good now. Like I said, if I'm straight, everything's in. It's when I lay down is when all hell breaks loose. And then I have this, I don't know what it is, rib or pulled muscle or something. But it's weird when I eat. It tends to there's a digestive problem, and then it was really painful last. But now it's fine. So I guess I just won't eat it anymore and solve that problem. But yeah, I think it was the roast I made. There was some fat on it, so I didn't do a good job cutting it off. I think it was just skin, but it was a little bit, chunky. And that's probably what got caught. So again, that's why I'm having chicken tonight, and we'll see if any problems arise. All right, sorry for that. So San Diego, Seattle. The game's in San Diego. San Diego's a 145 favorite, 7.5. Bryce Miller, 6-7, 3.84. Michael King, 7-5, 3.51. We know Seattle can't hit. San Diego's a good hitting team, so I don't know what to do here. Hard to go under a 7.5. So I'm going to leave this alone. I don't like it. The Yankees in Tampa. Tampa's a favorite, 125-8. Marcus Stroman, 7-4. With a 3.58. And Zach Eflin, 5-5 with a 4.19. I'm going to go over here. What did we go over? We went over yesterday, over 8, and we got it. So we're going to go over again, 3 units. Now the best series of this time is the Dodgers at Philly. Gavin Stone, 9-2 with a 3.03 for the Dodgers. Christopher Sanchez, 6-4 with a 2.96 for Philly. Philly's a 150 favorite, 9.5. I got to go under here. We got 2 good pitchers, and I got a 9.5. We'll go 3 units. We had Philly yesterday, and Philly got the win. Philly beat them bad too. That's the problem when you're betting on a Philly and a Dodgers. It's hard to bet them under because they got so many good hitters. Unlike Detroit and half these teams who can't find one 300 hitter. Philly's got three. Dodgers have a couple. Milwaukee. So let's go under with two 3.0 ERAs. Again, based on the averages, not that it should be a 6 because you get to the bullpens, but should be a lower scoring game than 5.0 ERA pitchers. Oakland, Boston. Boston minus 210. JP Sears 5-7, 4.74. Nick Pivetta 4-5 with the 4.06. Should be high scoring. It's in Fenway. Oakland can't hit, so that kind of hurts that. I'm going to take Boston, I think, but I'm not going to bet it. I'll just take Boston. I like Pivetta, and they're at home. We'll see. Oakland doesn't hit enough, but if Boston hits, then they'll beat Oakland. So let's go there. Colorado, Cincinnati. Cincinnati minus 199.5. Kyle Freeland 0-3 with the 6.62 against Frankie Montez 4-6 with the 4.19. Colorado hits, Cincinnati doesn't, although Colorado hits more at home than the road. Hard to say. Let's go Cincinnati. I don't love the pitcher. And another one I'm not betting. Heard to bet a 4-6 with the 4.19 pitcher. Washington at the Mets. The Mets are 190 favorite, 9.5. Patrick Corbin 1-8 with the 5.49. Luis Severino 5-3. So we're going to go Mets and M's, and we'll make this 3 units. Game 2 of Kansas City, St. Louis. We've got Kansas City won the first one 6-4. These are the rainouts from yesterday. Michael Wacha 5-6 with the 3.74 against Gordon Restrepo 0-0 with a 2.08. Probably a bullpen guy. This is the problem when you pitch the two. He's pitched one game against Cincinnati, 4 innings. So he's not even a bullpen guy. He went a whole 4 innings. Yet KC somehow is favored. I'll take, St. Louis is favorite. I'll take KC with Waka. We'll make this 3 units. Pitt, Milwaukee. We got Milwaukee minus 160.9. Martin Perez 1-4 with the 4.85. Tobias Myers 5-3 with the 3.52. I'm not seeing it here. Milwaukee can hit. They're at home. Milwaukee probably wins. Let's go Milwaukee. And again, another one I'm not betting. Miami and Houston. Brian Honig 0-1 with the 1.99 for Miami. Framber Valdez 7-5, 3.84 for Houston. Houston's a 2.25 favorite. Brian Honig is a bullpen guy. So you're going to get a lot of bullpen. I don't know what that means. You're going to get, 5 pitchers who pitch 2 innings apiece? Do they have 5 good relievers against Valdez? So this would be a curious stat. A stupid one, but a curious one is how does the team with a bullpen game go? Do they win a lot? Do they lose a lot? Are they high scoring? Because you got a bunch of 2-inning guys. So I'm going to take Houston here. And 3 units. Texas and California, Michael Lorenzen, 5-4 with the 3.21. Griffin Canning, 3-9 with the 4.87. Texas minus 139.5. I agree with that. I'll take Texas. We'll go 3 units. Good game, Atlanta and Arizona. We had Chris Sale yesterday. Got us the W, as I thought. And Atlanta's a 115 and 9. Charlie Morton, 5-5 with the 3.96. Slade Ciolone, the guy from the Cincinnati Kid, 2-6 with the 6.10. We're going to go over here. Atlanta over 9. We'll play this for 3 units. Arizona can hit. Atlanta can hit. And they got 2 shit pitchers. So, I'd go Atlanta, but Morton's 5-5. I don't know. In the last game, Toronto and the Niners, I had Frisco over 7 and got a push yesterday, I believe. And here's 7 again. And it's Chris Bassett, 7-7 with the 3.43. Logan Webb, 7-6 with the 3.09. This number 7, I'm not touching it. We couldn't get enough yesterday. So we're going to leave that alone. All right. Let's go through it. Baltimore under 8, 3 units. The Yankees over 8, 3 units. Philly under 9.5, 3 units. The Mets, 3 units. KC, 3 units. Houston, 3 units. Texas, 3. And Atlanta over 9 for 3. So there's no big game that I want to play 5 units on. And that's, kind of where I'm staying with it. You can't force these. And again, gambling's about winning. So we're gambling on baseball. We're trying to pick. We're looking at the variables, which are the key to picking. And the variables say, well, you got pitcher A against pitcher B, and here's the batting average, which we kind of know, which doesn't help you a whole lot, the batting average, because you never know. And then you've got Oakland scored 19 runs the other last week. So what does it tell you? Nothing. Tells you against a shit pitcher, they got 19 runs. But again, those are all averages. So you're trying to make money on it, but it's difficult. And that's why you go to Chris Sale yesterday and you make money on him and Verlander and Scherzer. That's what you're trying to do. But that's why you don't bet a lot on baseball, and it's every day. So you can wait for Verlander to come around or Scherzer to come around. Looks like Verlander's hurt. He hasn't pitched in a while. So that's kind of what's going on. See, the yawn hurts my back because my back, it's like I got to expand to yawn, and it's not letting me. A little difficult. All right, so that's baseball. And again, that's gambling. You're playing poker. What are the odds on winning the hand? And it's really based on, well, what are you're playing Hold'em, what's the 2 cards you got? The better the 2 cards, the better your chance of winning the hand. Then the flop comes. So now 3 cards hit, you got 2 in your hand. If they match you, then that's okay. If they don't match you, you're fucked, because if there's a couple other players in, they have a good chance of matching them because they didn't match you. Then what you can do is, if you can know the player, you can try bluffing. Well, I missed I have like an ace and a 10, and the flop totally missed me. There's a king and a queen in it. I'm fucked. The only thing I can do is bet like I hit the king or the queen and see if they didn't hit the king or the queen. So I can make a bluff there. That's what a bluff is. I don't have a hand. I missed, but I'm going to make a bet to get you to fold. Will he fold? And that's what you're trying to learn from the guy. If I make a big bet, will he fold? Well, if you make a big bet on me and I don't have anything, I'll probably fold. But if you make a big bet on me and I hit my cards, you're not going to get me to fold. So you don't know if I hit my cards or not, because I'm very good at deceiving, because I know you're watching. So that's what it's all about. Now, ABC poker is I've got a pair of kings and I hit a king and I'm going to bet because I got, I hit my card. I've got good cards. I'm betting. I'm betting when I got good cards. And when I don't have good cards, I'm folding. And that's basic poker. Then you got to get creative where you play where you don't have good cards and you kind of mix it up. And then maybe you hit the flop. Maybe you hit it real strong and you check. Now they don't know what to do. Shit, the guy checked. He probably doesn't have anything because he's an ABC player. I'm going to bet. And then I come over the top. And then you realize, oh, maybe I'm not an ABC player. Or maybe I am. But when I really got a strong hand, I'm going to come back over you. So I can check my strong hands. And that's what that's about. So anyway, that's really what you've got to understand is that so we will see. But anyway, so as I start eating, like I'm getting a little more pain in my side. It's like down here, right? So I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a pulled muscle, but it's certainly as I'm eating bothering me. So we will see. Hopefully that's why I fast to heal myself. All the doctors are going to do is give you pills and painkillers and they don't do anything anymore. So it's really rough to go see them and try to get any type of answer out of them. Anyway, so that's what you're really trying to do is you're looking at how do I play the other guy? What type of player is the other guy? And the better the player, the better they are at disguising. Right? So they can disguise what they have. So I don't know how to read them. They'll check with aces or they'll bet with nothing or they'll bet with aces. See, when they mix it up, it's really when it gets confusing. Wait, he bet, he had aces. Okay, he didn't bet this time. Oh shit, he still has aces. Now that's why you mix it up. Now they don't know what to do. And I'm good at that. I'm good at, if I have a marginal hand, I'll bet. But if I have a really good hand, I can just as easily check it. I had 4 of a kind once. I didn't make a bet the whole series. The flop comes. I have a pair of 8s, 2 8s. I got 4 8s. And I just check and somebody bet a little. And then the next card comes. All in. 3 guys go all in, and it hasn't come to me, and I haven't made a bet, and I got 4 8s. I'm just like dancing, right? How do I keep calm? So I call. One guy folds, and they couldn't have had full houses. I had the other 2 8s. I think they were looking at flushes or something. And anyway, so it's a nice big hand. Of which I never made a bet with 4 8s. So that's the beauty of it is when they bet for you and then you can just kind of check and go along with it. And then they don't know what you have. I did that another time. I had pocket aces and it's coming to me and the lady before me makes a $50 bet. This is pre-flop. So I just call it with my aces. She probably had kings or queens and it goes around and then the flop comes and there's the third ace. She bets, I just call, and then somebody else raises. I think the lady goes out. I call the raise or went all in on it or whatever. And he has 2 pair 10s and 4s, and there was a 10 and 4 flop. I got 3 aces. He's lost because if he hits the 10 or the 4 for the full house, it gives me the full house, aces full of 10s or 4s. He comes over and shakes my hand, and I just kind of like, it's easy. I mean, that's how you play it. Why would I bet with the aces or the 3 aces? Why would I bet? And see, that's what you got to realize when you bet, when you don't bet, because you don't want to give away your anything. So if you're checking with the full house or 3 aces like that, how can they read you? Because I'm going to check most of the time with garbage. So I finally got a good hand. ABC poker, I'd bet it, but I didn't. I checked it. Anyway, so that's what happens. And, well, the more of the facade, the more variables you can put up, the harder it is to read you. The better the player is, the more your opportunity to win. Now, in blackjack or craps you can't do. You can play your odds, and then you can decide pass or don't pass, come or don't come. I can play the 10 and the 4. I can play don't 10 and 4. I've done that before, where the dice are throwing a lot of 7s. And I go don't 10, and you lay like 100 to win 50, and the guy 7's out, and you win your 50. So there's all kinds of skill you can do at craps. Understanding 7's the answer, and then in blackjack you can double down your skill and your betting. When I'm on a streak, I increase. When I'm losing, I'll just bet $5. So I got 17 and I lost. I go back to 1 unit, whatever that is. But that's all the skill is. When do I double down and betting? Otherwise, I don't know what else. I got 14 to dealers, got 6. I'm going to stick. I got 14 to dealers, got a 10. I'm going to hit. I mean, that's a little bit of the strategy, but it's all variables, right? What's the dealer's card? What do I got, and what's the dealer's card? That tells me what to do. And the same thing in craps. What's the guy rolling? Is there a lot of 7s that hit, or is it all numbers, or is it all 2s and 3s? And then you make the decision after that. So we will see. Those are your variables. So when we get into baseball and football, we're looking at quarterback and defense, maybe the coach. Baseball, we're looking at the pitcher and can they hit, and how are they going to hit the other pitcher? That's really the key variables. And then you're going to bet. But you can't make big bets every day. There's just not the variables that will give it to you. Chris Sale yesterday against the 5, it was like a 3.5 pitcher against him, and but he won. But if he's going against Verlander, you can't just bet Chris Sale. You've then got to bet small. You got to bet the game under. 2 good pitchers shouldn't be a lot of runs. 2 bad pitchers. Here's where you get fooled. 2 bad pitchers should be over, and it's 2-1. And you're like, the guy had a 5 ERA and a 6 ERA. How the fuck did it go 2-1? And a lot of that is because they pitch 4 or 5 innings, and then they jump on the bullpen, and the bullpen comes out. And then you're in trouble. So that's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to make money, but baseball, you got to understand, is every day. It's very difficult. And right now it's a bunch of minor leaguers playing. There's a few major leaguers. Cleveland has a good bullpen, and they have a 350 hitter. So, yeah, there's a few major leaguers out there. Most of them are all screwed up because they listened to analytics and said, oh, you don't need a good hitter. You need a guy who can walk a lot or get hit by a pitch. We don't need hits and averages. I hear this idiot on the Detroit station talk about this guy Chapman. The Tigers should have got him. And I looked, he's hitting 240. I'm like, really? You're getting all excited over a 240 hitter? Yeah, but his WAR is 3. What? What's a WAR? So let's look at what a WAR is, which I don't think they can even define, because I don't think it exists. I mean, they can't really explain it. What is WAR in baseball? WAR, or wins above replacement, is a sabermetric statistic that measures a baseball player's total value to a team. How the fuck can it do that? It compares a player's relative wins over a season to those of a replacement level player who is a player that any team can add for the league minimum salary. Sounds like a real good thing here. The WAR value is the number of additional wins a team would have achieved if the player were replaced by a replacement level player. For example, a player with a WAR of 6 adds 6 wins to their team and was 6 wins better than a replacement level player. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. WAR is often considered when awarding annual awards like MVP and Cy Young. Can also be added together for a team total. The average WAR is around 2, but it can vary depending on the year and the position. For example, a replacement level player typically has a WAR between 0 and 1, while role players like defensive specialists or pinch hitters usually have a WAR of 1 to 2. Did that make any sense to anybody? Because it made no sense to me. How does WAR work in baseball? Let's try to get, not the AI version. Overview. The basis for a WAR value is the estimated number of runs contributed by a player through offensive actions such as batting and base running, and runs denied to opposing teams by the player through defensive actions. Oh, wait, that's not what the first one said. It was about wins. How do you calculate WAR in baseball? The formula itself is not very complicated, as it is WAR equals batting runs plus base running runs. What the fuck does that mean? Plus fielding runs. What are they talking about? Plus position adjustment. What is that? Plus league adjustment. Plus replacement runs divided by runs per win. This itself is not a complicated formula. Each of the singe components are more difficult to calculate. Hey, Greg and John. So this makes no sense. You can't even understand it. WAR measures a player's value in all facets of the game by deciphering how many more wins he's worth than a replacement level player. What does a replacement level player mean? I don't know what that means. So you can't even really understand WAR. It's so vague, and so I'm going to say that you're worth more than a replacement player. Well, your skill set, if you're a star, of course, would be more than an average player. I mean, so what are they saying? A guy who hits 330 is more valuable than an average guy? Well, geez, really? So that's what I get out of that. This is your point of coming up with is, let's look at the WAR stat to say this guy's WAR is 5. And we don't even know what it is, or it's he's better than the average player. That's the stupidest thing I've ever. What does it mean he's better than the average player? The average player. How do you figure out the average player? It's all averages, right? So WAR makes no sense. Actually, wins above replacement is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And this idiot on this radio show is talking about it like it's the end all be all. Just like they talk about OPS, they don't talk batting average. Again, this guy He's hitting 240, but he's all excited because he's got a big home run. He's got like 15 home runs, so he's all excited. Oh, look at his OPS. He's hitting 240, guy. Relax. And the guy plays for San Francisco. So what does that mean? Does that mean he's any good? I mean, is he going to hit in San Francisco like is he going to hit in Detroit the way they hit in Frisco? Detroit's a bigger ballpark. I remember we got Parker Meadows from Tampa, and I said, who the fuck's that? Some guy says, well, he hit 20 home runs at Tampa and was all excited. And then he hits here, doesn't even hit 100, has no home runs. And it's like different ballpark, right? We're not playing in a little dome stadium that you can hit a pop-up and get a home run. This is Detroit where the fences are way back. So it just makes no sense. You're not going to get home runs in Detroit. You're going to get a lot of singles and doubles. Anyway, so that's my point. You're throwing WAR out there. You can't even explain it. Wins above replacement. So it's if Bobby's on the team versus the replacement, who's the average Joe, who is really nobody. So Bobby's better than the mean, right? If the mean's the guy who hits 200 with 5 home runs and 10 RBIs, that's the average. So Bobby's going to give you more wins, but he can't give you more wins because it's not based on Bobby hitting the ball. The wins are based on the team. It's based on the pitcher. If I got Verlander, we're going to win a lot more games than if we got some of the idiots on the Tigers. So you can't measure a player in wins. The only player you can is the pitcher, right? Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson. That's it. That's who gets you the win, not a guy who plays left field. There's no wins above replacement. So, and the replacement's a joke. It's just an average guy. So the whole category of WAR is absolutely ridiculous. So when you're saying that this guy's WAR is better than this guy's WAR, it's totally meaningless. It's not the reason. It's, can the guy hit? He's hitting 240. Oh, well, fuck him. I don't want him. Because you got to look at batting average. It's batting average, home runs, and RBIs. Sorry, you can't add new ones and think they're important. So OPS or extra base hits, I guess, against hits doesn't really come into play here. I don't know if it's fixed. It's definitely a harder pick because of the managers are so bad. And the umps fix it a little bit. But I mean, this 5-inning, 100 pitch count makes it incredibly difficult to predict because I'm looking at Chris Sale on it, but I'm not going to get 8 innings out of Chris Sale. I'm going to get 5 innings. And that's the problem with it. All right. I wanted to talk about that WAR stat, which is just incredibly stupid. All right. So we were talking yesterday about why do the Wall Street and the banks not try to sell gold? And my best analogy is you're talking to the butcher, and you want steaks and chicken and hamburgers. Why isn't he selling Fruit Loops? Because he's selling meat, right? Oh, yeah, but Fruit Loops are a really good investment and they make you money and they do all this. Yeah, but I'm selling meat. That's why I don't talk about Fruit Loops, because it's got nothing to do with meat. And that takes you to Wall Street. So why aren't you talking gold? Because we're not selling gold. We don't get commission on gold. It doesn't make us money because once it's sold, it's gone, just like baseball cards. Believe me, if Wall Street could sell Mickey Mantle cards, they would, but they can't. Because once you get them, you own them and you keep them. You're not going to sell it. See, stocks, you can easily get in and get out, and they make commission, right? And I'm going to get rich off of that. You can promise it with a Mantle card, but they'd have to, I don't know how they would do it. And gold's the same way as the Mantle card. Okay, you want to buy gold? Here's the supply. I'll buy 10 ounces. They sell it to you, and that's it. And there are JD Bullion and SD Bullion does that. However, Wall Street, they don't sell gold because there's no money to be made. They don't make commission on it because there's no way you can. I mean, you can get the premium out of it. That's about it. But you'd have to own. The problem is, okay, so they'd have to own enough gold. People come to buy them, and they'd have to sell it to them. They get their little premium on it. And then what do they do? See, there's no repeat business. All right. I bought my ounces. You bought yours. Nick buys his. John buys his. Luke buys his. And we bought. Okay, now what? And it runs out. You run out of gold. There's no really, you get repeat customers, but there's nothing but $100 premium on it, where you're making a lot of commission on Attack on Wall Street guy giving you $60,000 for real estate trust. I'm sure you made a lot more than the commission you would make on gold. That's why they don't talk about gold. They want to keep you in the Ponzi scheme, which is stocks and real estate trusts and annuities. That's where they want to keep you in, because that's where they make their money. Those are their products. They're selling meat, not Fruit Loops. So it's not like, what do you want them to say? And then the guy says, yeah, but they all own the gold. Of course they all own gold because they understand gold, but it's not what they're selling. They're selling meat. They can't sell Fruit Loops if they're selling hamburger. That's their job, is to sell the hamburger. I'm at the meat counter. You want something about meat? I'll talk to you. You want Fruit Loops or gold? What do you want me to say? So, of course, they all own it, but of course they don't bring it up because that's not their job. Their job is to make commission on you by buying and selling these other things, which are basically stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and real estate trust and annuities. I mean, the paper bullshit that they can sell a lot of because they're all Ponzi scheme. They have an unlimited amount of stock. Do you ever hear anybody say, "Oh, I can't buy Microsoft"? They've sold out of it. No, they just keep selling and selling. They got billions of shares to sell, and the pension funds buy that and everything else. So they listen to the financial advisor, who's a crook, who sells them paper crap, Titanic crap that's going to sink at the bottom of the ocean. And that's why they don't. The same thing with banks. That's why they don't sell you gold or advise you gold. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell the meat. So they're only going to talk about the meat. You want them to talk about the Fruit Loops. Why would they? They don't go there. They just talk about the meat. That's what they sell. So if you want the financial advisor to say buy gold, you got to come here. You got to come to my class where I talk about the whole grocery store. And in my world, there is only one thing to buy, is gold and silver. That's it, because the others are all Ponzi scheme. They're all fixed. They're all worthless because they're all paper. So even though you've got $1 million, it's zero. It's monopoly money. And that's really what they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that the stocks, you can make $1 million, like Bitcoin. What do they say? You can make $1 million. It'll go up to $1 million. Based on what? What supply demand principle is used in Bitcoin to get it up to $1 million? None. It's all made off, right? So that's the problem with it. And gold, we know gold, you can't print. It's got to go up now with bricks, and the Wall Street and the banks fight it because they want you in the paper stuff. They don't want you in gold. Because once you buy gold, what do? You find a safe for it, and you sit it down and you wait for the price to go up. So you never sell it until the price is high. Well, they don't want anything to do with you because they can't turn the commission. Buy Microsoft. You know what? Why don't you sell it and buy Apple? And sell it and buy Tesla, and sell it and buy this. And they make commission when you sell, commission when you buy. They can do the options. They can do all this bullshit that has nothing to do with reality. And that's the problem. So that's where you end up going, why aren't you talking about gold? Because it's not on my menu to talk about. I'm going to talk about the items I have: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate trust. So if it's not one of those four things, I don't, why would I tell you about gold? But if you understand that the dollar's printed to zero and gold can't be printed, what do you think? So it's not hard to understand, but you're not going to get that from a financial advisor. You're going to get that from an Austrian economist. You're going to get that from the professor. That's the difference. I'm going to teach you the best investment, the best asset to have, because I don't have a horse in the game, or skin in the game, or whatever you want to call it. I don't sell stocks and I don't sell bonds, and I want you out of money and I want you out of the stocks and I want you out of the banks, period. So all the banks want you in because they're going to make money off of you. But all the gold people, no. You can't make money off of me because I don't even need to buy it from you. I go to my coin. So for there, you go to the coin store or the jewelers that sells gold. And then you can ask him and he'll tell you, buy gold. It's the best investment you can get. There's no risk. There's no, once you got it, it's yours. There's no price fix. Well, there's price fixing, but there's no risk for you. It's just going to go up. You just got to hold it and let it go up. And just like the baseball card, you got a Montana card, wonderful. Oh, it's a PSA 10, it's worth $100,000. Oh, you paid $100 for it? Good for you. You were smart enough to go after the stars. I mean, that's basically what I did. I'm in the 90s and I'm going after Barry Sanders and Emmett. And then the little light goes on that happens to the professor all the time. And I go, well, fuck, what am I wasting my time? And then, I'll say to myself, there's no good players. There was Frank Thomas and Ken Griffey Jr. and Cal Ripken, and then Clemens and Bonds, and they got steroid out. So there's only a few players. But then if you think about it, you go, well, wait a minute. In the 60s, there's Mantle and Mays and Aaron and Koufax and Gibson and on and on and on. And then you go, yeah, that's where, and the prices were not bad. It was hard to get really good quality, but I could have got a good Mantle card for $500, 1965. That's going for 60,000 for a PSA 9. Yeah, it hurts, but see, I never rubbed that in anybody's face that I could have bought that and I didn't, or that I bought the Montana for 100 and it's going for 125. I don't rub that in people's faces like these Bitcoiners do. Oh, I got Bitcoin at $2 and it went up to 60,000. Oh, yeah, sure you did. And I don't really give a fuck. Just like you don't give a fuck that I got the Montana rookie card for $100 in 1995 or whatever. Hey, Lucas, not much. How are you? Anything new with gold? Bricks? Well, I mean, it's up about $7, $8 today. I just wanted to read this thing first on Yellen admits sanctions could impact U.S. dollar dominance as concerns mount over dollar hegemony. I never heard of that word before in college. When U.S. Treasury Janet Yellen on Tuesday testified before the House Financial Services, she said one of her concerns is how best to protect the international status of the U.S. dollar as U.S. financial sanctions have pushed more countries seek alternative financial transactions measures that do not involve the U.S. dollar. What a fucking idiot. She's just realizing this now. Well, we're bullies. You're not supposed to leave. You're supposed to play. The remarks from Yellen have shed light on growing concerns regarding U.S. dollar hegemony. Experts believe that, who are these experts? I love experts. The weaponizing of the dollar will reduce it. Yeah, well, we already know that. So basically, that's a bunch of bullshit. And Lucas, we've got gold's at 23.71, up $6, and silver 30.82. This is far more price fixed than this. This you can see that the put option at 10 o'clock of the U.S. was not too bad. Went down to 23.77, and then there was another option at about 23.78 at about 1 o'clock that went down to 23.70, and it's holding there. So the options got you at 23.71, which isn't bad. We can live with that. Anyway, so that's my point about financial advisors. trying to sell you, say buy gold. Like I said, it's like going to the meat counter and asking the guy about Fruit Loops. He does. I know meat. I don't know that. These guys on Wall Street know stocks, bonds, real estate trusts, mutual funds. They don't know gold and silver. It's not on their. It's not on their menu to sell. So they're not going to advise you. Why would they? But it doesn't mean gold's a bad buy. It just means if you're going to the meat counter, you got to ask about meat. You can't ask about Fruit Loops or tuna fish. The guy's not gonna. I don't know. I sell hamburgers and steaks here. I don't know um, what the other is, and that's the whole point. It's so why are you surprised when your financial advisor or stockbroker doesn't recommend gold? Because it's not what he's selling. You're asking the wrong person. You ask me, and I tell you the truth. Like I said, I don't have a horse in the game or whatever they call it. I don't have that. I'm not getting commission. So I'm going to tell you the truth. This is buy all the gold you can and just wait for the price to go up. Wait for comex and wait for bricks. Nothing new on bricks that I've heard of, but this war in the Ukraine, the war in the Ukraine is really about oil and minerals. It's got nothing to do with NATO. We're the Crimea and Donetsk and Kharkov and Odessa are all four of the places that are very rich in oil and minerals. Those are the key areas in the Ukraine that have that. Just happens to be the Russian cities and just happens to be what Putin's protecting and what the U.S. wants. That's why this war is not going any further. They're not going to Romania and Hungary, Russia, because there's no oil and there's nothing there for them to get after. They don't want to just go wherever their oil is. So this is what they're doing. They're trying to, I think, protect the oil that's in the Ukraine and the minerals. That's what I think. That's what this war is about. That's why the U.S. keeps going. Well, we don't care if we won or lost. If we don't get the oil and minerals, we didn't win. So that's what they're after. It's probably the same thing as Vietnam. It was not a military war. It was a war about oil and drugs and all that stuff. It's a war about money. So keep that in mind. So bricks, haven't heard. All I can say is it'll probably be, it'll be there soon, but uh, hopefully it'll end soon. But we know by September, October, they'll have to go on a gold standard because they're not going to. Nobody's using this U.S. hegemony to get dollars, right? Russia can't, but they got to buy. They're selling oil, so you want to buy oil from Russia. It's going to be gold back BRICS currency, and China wants to buy oil from Russia and Saudi Arabia, so they're going to use the BRICS dollar, but they need it to be gold back, otherwise nobody will trust them, and it'll lose value because they know any dollar not backed by gold will go to zero. 244-ounce silver. Yeah, I mean, that's conservative. I'm thinking 2000, but yeah, once it breaks, because these, like India needs for the solar panels, they need a lot of silver, more probably than there is. See, what the options give you is the paper inflated ounces of gold and silver, not the physical silver. So, in other words, we know there's 500,000 ounces of silver physical, let's say 500, 600,000, which is probably what they need, tons. But with the paper, it looks like there's 3 million ounces of silver. That's why the price goes down. But, and then alligators saying, well, the Chinese are the ones keeping the price down because they need to buy more and more silver. I don't know about that. I do believe the Chinese have been keeping prices down so they can buy. Why are we letting them? Why are we not? Why isn't everybody else taking advantage? Why is it just the Chinese? So now all the other central banks are buying. Russia's been buying right along, and now Saudi Arabia and South America has the Cougaran, so they're just going into the mines and pulling it out and minting it, and off they go. Same thing with China. They have a lot of gold there. They just pull out of the mines and mint. Although some of it has gotten out. I almost bought a Panda, but I didn't. Well, I think gold definitely hits 12,000. I think it hits 20,000. Once the frenzy starts and everybody realizes they need the lifeboat, is when it just moves. See, now you're seeing this little 23.71 up $6, big fucking deal. That's derivative. But once it's physical and people need to buy physical because they need to get the gold. Their dollar is gone. It's running out. They need to buy the gold. And once they need it, they'll pay any price, right? And more of the richer people will, oh yeah, I got $20 million. Yeah, give me. See, and that's where it runs out. And that goes to the plan of these guys like Andy Scheckman and Alligator and these guys. Oh, I'll take my silver and take 10 ounces and buy gold. It sounded good at first, but now as I'm realizing, I don't think there'll be gold there to do the exchange. So even though 10 ounces of silver might buy the ounce of gold, will the ounce of gold be there? And I don't think it will be. It seems like a lot of people have a lot of silver, right? All these guests on Alligator, on Mark McGuire's show and Alligator, and they all got a lot of silver, which they'll do fine on. But I think what's happening is the central banks aren't buying silver; they're buying gold. And I think so. The play will be as gold gets. I'm thinking gold's 23.71, which means it's going to cost me about $2,500 to buy an ounce of gold. So $10,000 is going to buy me 4 ounces of gold. Pretty soon, it's going to be buying me 2 ounces of gold. Eventually, it's only going to buy me 1 ounce of gold. Can you believe that? 10 grand will buy you 2 ounces of gold and then 1 ounce of gold. And that's going to be the problem is how much do you have, right? And then I can't buy any more gold. It's either too expensive or the dealer doesn't have any. And when that happens, silver's still out there. I'll buy the silver. So how are you going to take your 10 ounces of silver, 15 ounces of silver and buy the ounce of gold when there's no gold to trade it for? Or it'll be very hard to trade it. Or you'll have to sell your silver and then go on eBay and buy the ounce of gold with what you sold the silver for. That'll be where it gets, and I don't think people realize the variables change. Lucas, I try and keep my physical 50-50 silver and gold. I don't think there's a formula there. I think just the less green, the less of this that you own, the better you are. This is already I'll give you it's 1 cent going to zero. So the less of this I have and the more gold and silver I have, does it really matter? I would, if I'm going to the store today or tomorrow, I'm buying gold. Hands down, I've been buying gold for the last 6-8 months and very little silver. I was buying a lot of silver, so I got over 600 ounces. It was nowhere near what you got, Luke, but I've been buying more and more gold. And when I get my mom's trust, if it's a decent amount, I'm going to buy gold. I might buy like 20 ounces of silver, but more of my purchase is going to be on gold. That's just, like I said, if I'm going to Switzerland or somewhere and I'm on the plane, I'd much rather carry 5 ounces of gold than, 80 ounces of silver. And that wouldn't even be close. My gold's 10,000 an ounce. I got $50,000, and with 5, this is it. I'm carrying these 5 ounces of gold, and it's worth 50,000. And it's in my pocket. And nobody knows I got it. I'm not going to get pickpocketed. I'm just going to walk around like I don't have anything. But compare that to silver. How many ounces of silver would I need? Even if I just said, well, you know what, I'm going to go and I'll sell 100 ounces of silver. That's still five. That's still five of those white containers. How are you going to walk around? Well, you're going to have it in your purse or your bag or something. If it, and then it's not going to be near the value that you got for your gold. So that's where I'm kind of leaning towards more gold. Plus, gold goes. Yeah, silver might run faster, but it's nickels and dimes versus dollars. So I got gold going up $100, and I got silver going up. But silver's up a penny, and gold's up $6 today. I mean, that's the point. The gold goes up dollars, but the silver, okay, so it hits 50, and then it goes to 100, and then 500. Still, okay, from 30 to 500, but then how far are we going to get silver? So I think silver is the replacement drug. So as everybody starts realizing their dollars are worthless, and they all are, every country, except for the BRICS and Zimbabwe, gold back, they'll start going, I need precious metals. That's the answer, gold and silver. And gold will be 15,000 an ounce. Well, I can buy 1 ounce, or I can buy all this silver that's now at $100 an ounce. So they're going to go into the silver because that's what they can afford. Now, the real rich guys will buy the gold anyway, provided they can even find it. You're not going to be able to find it as easy as you can find it now. And the only reason you can find it is when I go to the gold store, somebody came in and brought it in and sold it. These idiots are still selling their gold at 2,300, and you're like, oh my God, who are these? These are people that don't know what they're doing. They're not stupid people, Greg and John. You think they're stupid. They're not stupid. They just don't know. They know gold. They probably, somebody gave it to them, or they thought it was a good idea at maybe 300 an ounce, maybe 500 an ounce, and now it's 2,300. It's the all-time high. Oh, Jim, maybe we should sell it now. How much higher is it going? It's at the all-time high. That's the paper all-time high, not the physical all-time high. And with BRICS coming out and all these currencies going to zero, 2,500 you'll never see again, right? Times that by 10. And that's really what they don't get, because their financial advisor is not going to tell them about gold. He wants them in what he's selling. The meat guy sells meat. That's what he wants you to buy. The Wall Street guy is selling stocks and bonds and real estate trusts. That's what he's selling you. He's not selling you gold. So why would he talk about it? So I hate these guys doing these shows that are so fucking clueless. It's not what they're selling. It's not, it's like I got football cards and you're asking for a little Willie Mays card. I got football. I don't have baseball. I'm not going to recommend Willie Mays. Now, if I'm selling sports cards, I'm not going to recommend Rolex or gold. I'm going to recommend. So if I'm a sports card dealer at a show and I got my 4 sports, here's a Bobby Hull and a Bobby Orr and a Wayne Gretzky and Mahomes and Mickey Mantle. How about gold? Well, I got sports cards. How about a Rolex? I'm not going to talk about them because my table's full of inventory of baseball and of sports cards. That's what I'm going to talk about. Even though, of course, I know gold's the best out of all of it, but I got all my sports cards. And it's the same thing with Wall Street and the banks. They don't want to talk about it, not because they don't like it or they don't know about it. They fucking know about it. It's not on their menu. That's not what they're going to sell. So I don't think it matters, Luke, 50-50. Just as long as you have either one. I mean, mine, in value, mine's like 80-20 gold to silver. But I got 600 ounces of gold and, like 75 ounces or 600 ounces of silver and 75 ounces of gold. So it's not even money physical, but then the price is more than, it's 80% gold and 20% silver. And the difference is when gold moves $100 an ounce, so it goes from 23 to 2,400. When gold does that, I make $750 or $7,500 every 100 it goes up. But when silver, 600 ounces of silver, so I need a $10 move makes me 6,000. but good luck getting a $10 move. I mean, that's the difference. I'll get a 50-cent move, but I won't get a $10 move, not yet anyway. And it's all bullshit price fix. I mean, I don't know how they let the price fix happen. That I blame the steel, the silver mines for allowing that. They must get paid off by J.P. Morgan to close their eyes. Here's an extra $5 million for you to keep the price at 30. But these guys are so stupid. Obviously, a big payoff or very corrupt, which we know it all is. That's the problem with it. You get this extremely corrupt system. And we're sitting there like, oh, I know gold will go up. It's valuable. They can't print it. It's no inflation. And it's the best thing to have. And why is the price going up? Oh, it's manipulated. You're not the only one who knows about it. The competition knows about it. Luke, do you think we get to the day where you can take gold, silver into a bank and they redeem it for a gold-backed dollar? Well, in the BRICS world, yes. So if we move to Russia, yeah, that'll happen. Like I said, from 1879 to 1914, that's exactly what you did during the gold standard. Well, in America, they have to go to the gold standard for them to do it. I think right now we just keep going to the gold store and trade it there. We don't need a bank. I mean, if you just want dollars, just go to the gold store, take your ounce, say, give me $5,000 worth, and he'll give you $5,000. So you don't have to go to the bank for it, is my point. But unless we're on the gold standard, it'll never happen because, again, it's not on the bank's menu. The bank's menu is not gold. So when I went in there and got money out, and the nerdy salesman comes up, oh, I can put you in an annuity for 9%. And I looked at him and I just started laughing like, I don't want to be in paper. I want to get out of paper. That's the whole point. I want to get out of paper into gold. I don't want to be in a paper product. I don't care if I make 9% because 9% of crap is zero. And that's what I don't want. So he's trying to sell me his 9, he starts drooling. Oh, he's got 10 grand. I can make a lot of money. But that's the whole problem. But I know I'm smarter than him. However, if you get some idiot in there, he'll go, wow, I can get 9%, even though the dollar is going to zero. I can get 9% of zero. Oh, seems like a good Madoff. And that's the problem. So if you're stupid, and that's why they keep you stupid, because they just go around making all this money on you because you don't have a fucking clue. That's the problem. But you got to buy things that are very limited, that they can't fuck you over. And that's what I brought to you. Rolexes, Picassos and Van Goghs, and our Mano cards. Our friends at Topps, our Mano cards and our Mays cards, and our Brady and our Jordan. And you can't lose in those. The Montana rookie, you can't lose. I wouldn't pay $125 for it. I'd maybe try to get it for $100. Can't lose. When the dollar goes out, it'll go to zero. It'll get priced in gold, and it'll be worth a half ounce of gold or something like that. But it'll still be a real asset, and it'll still have a value. Lucas, yeah, but can't trade in $200K in physical to the gold store for a down payment on a house. So you want to go to a bank and pay a 30-year fixed. Okay, so sit down so I can explain the next part of it to you. Well, he's going to give you $200K, and then you go buy the house. You got a check for $200K. I mean, he's going to give you a check, right? So you go with $200K to the gold store. He gives you a check for $200K. You go sign your mortgage, and here's the $200K as my down payment or paying the house. Or you can do what I would do, is you take the ounce or 2 ounces of gold and give it to the guy selling the house. So you go into an open house, I want to talk to the owner and say, look, I got 2 ounces of gold. I'll give it to you for the house. There's no mortgage. There's no 30-year fix because you're going to pay cash for the house. And your cash is going to be good as gold. And that's how you should buy the house with the couple ounces of gold will buy you the house. That's, stop thinking banking and 30-year fixed. You won't need it. Here's gold. And he'll say, thank you. Like the Nazis, right? In 1923, before the Nazis were Nazis, that's what they say, right? He bought five ounces of gold, bought the house because all the money had dried up. So the house was worth $100, which was $20 an ounce for gold. Give him 5 ounces of gold and you had the house. So that's really the power of gold. You're going to use gold to buy the house. You can get the 200 grand for it if there's still dollars. So what are you going to do when the dollar goes out? Right? That's the point. The dollar goes out. What happens next? We need some sort of medium of exchange. So it's going to be gold and silver, which is that's why the price is going to the moon. Luke, or 30K to buy a car, still have to deposit into your bank account to transact. That's a user. Well, you don't have to do that. You're not thinking third dimensional, Luke. If I go into the Toyota dealership with, gold's 30,000 an ounce now, and I give the guy an ounce of gold for the car, he might take it. He might say, I need cash. I'm not sure what's going to happen back then. Is the dollar still going to be around? That's what you're not thinking. You're not understanding things will change. There won't be dollars, right? They'll all be Zimbabwe, where you'll need this much to buy it. They'll be so happy to see gold because it's real money that can't be inflated. So they'll all know it's real money. So that's my point. They're not going to be money around. There'll be a new dollar, I guess. And why is it an IRS flag? There's nothing wrong with. So what? Let's say you sold a Picasso now for 100 grand. Is that an IRS flag? Well, I had a Picasso and I sold it. So what's the IRS going to say? Okay, yeah, here's the receipt. Yep, he sold it. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's wrong if you're laundering money, like the Russians, the mafia, but you're not. You're selling the painting, so you got the money, so you can show the money, but you sold the painting. The mafia gets the money and didn't sell the painting. That's the problem. So I don't know. You're worried about the IRS, which I understand, but you're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything illegal. You're simply selling an asset. If you were to sell a Van Gogh or a Picasso now for 100 grand, or what if you got $1 million for it? What's the IRS going to say? Well, you sold it. Okay, yeah, and I'll pay taxes when I do my tax return. So as long as you pay tax on it, that's what they're worried about. The transaction itself doesn't matter. You do the tax return, you got to show a capital gain of $1 million for the Picasso, let's say. That's where it's illegal if you don't declare it on your tax return as I sold an asset. But again, if there's no money, if this is gone, are we even going to do tax return? Is there even going to be an IRS? Because once this is gone, guess what? The government's gone because they ain't working for free. So if this is worthless, which it is, you don't have a government to worry you. The IRS will want tax. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But that doesn't, they want sales tax. I don't know if there's sales tax on you selling it, maybe. I think that's the capital gains tax, not, an individual doesn't pay sales tax. We pay capital gains tax. But I never heard if you sell something, you don't pay a sales. You sell your house, there's a sales tax, I guess, the buyer pays the sales tax, I think, not the seller. But again, I think we pay it in capital gains is what you'll pay it. But that's why we go to Switzerland and sell it, and there's no tax and no IRS. They don't know anything, and then we come home, and then you give the guy, here's cash for the house. Now they might ask, well, where'd you get the money? But if you're working, you can say that. Or the fact that there won't be money. See, once the money goes out, then all that goes out the window. They're not going to say, where'd you get the money? Because there isn't money. So you have gold. And that's it. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna want their capital gains tax provided, or you just keep it. You sell your gold. So that's why you're not going to sell your gold. You're going to hand your gold to the guy with the house or the car, and you're going to do the exchange. So there's no capital gains and none of that shit. That's how I envision it. But there won't be money to get. You're thinking it's today. There's not. Yeah, if I sold the Montana card for 125,000, yeah, I'm gonna have to pay. I don't know if a capital gains tax. I'll have to pay some tax that I got 125,000, right? But down the road, when the money goes away, what do I pay it in? You don't have money, or whatever the new money is what I'll, then pay it in. But yeah, but I won't get 125 either for it because it won't be 125,000 dollars because the dollar's gone. So now I'm going to sell Montana for 2 ounces of gold. And how do you track that? You can't. That's the beauty of gold. Dollar dies, so does the IRS, so does the government. I bought my new Subaru Outback today, 2024 32.8. Would have loved to give them 2 ounces for that. No tax on my gold. Well, that's coming. Exactly. You wouldn't give them 2 ounces. You'd give them a half ounce. Believe me, an ounce is going to be way more than 50,000. 35K after taxes. I finance 17. Yeah, I mean, but you probably never pay the 17 because when the dollar goes out, well, I'd love to pay you, but since there is no medium of exchange to pay you with, I guess there's nothing I can do. And the 17 will go to zero, and you'll owe the Subaru, and that's all that happens. So I hope it's a good car and you got a good price on it. I bet it was 25 a couple of years ago. Like I got my Camry, it was 24,000, and then 2018, and I go get my oil changed, and they're all like in the 30s now, and I just kind of laugh at them. Can you sell any? No. Yeah. And then I show them, well, the market's here, your price is here. How are you going to sell them? Who are you going to sell them to? There is no market. The market's down here. You've got to lower your price to market. He understood that. I love teaching them economics. They're so stupid, these people. So if you understand that it's 30, if you understand your over market, you can raise your price. See, that's my whole argument. You can sell your car for 100,000 if you can sell it for that, but you can't. Toyota can't sell the Camrys for 35. They're no sales because nobody's going to pay that much. And that's my point on inflation. So you can't look at the prices and say, yeah, the prices are, but nobody buys them. So your price is too high. So you got to come back down. Is that deflation? No, you never should have raised it from 24 to 35. Who the fuck were you kidding? Nobody, the market's 25. I wouldn't pay 35 for a Camry. That's why I bought mine when I did. It's all paid off at 24,000. There's only about 62,000 miles on it. So, but that's the point. That's really what they're missing. So that's economics is what does the market allow you to sell it for? What will the market buy it for? And that's the price you have to have. And if you try to sell it here and the market's here, you ain't going to do it because that's what the point of the market is. The market dictates prices, which dictates what they'll pay for it. So you sell tennis rackets, so why don't you sell them all for $10,000 because you don't have buyers for it. So you got to get to the price that the market will buy it for. And that's the same thing we talked about with your brother and the tickets. He can only get if there's demand for the game. That's why he'll have trouble at some games. There won't be demand. Ohio State against Middle Kentucky, he's not, he's going to yank a little, but Ohio State, Michigan, and Ohio State, Oregon, he should get a pretty penny on that one. That'll be a very big game. just like Georgia and Alabama will be a very big game. Those are what I'd want to be the broker on the tickets for, not Michigan against Brother Rice High School. Should I? So I shouldn't pay it off quick. No, you shouldn't, because we don't know how long the dollar is going to last, and your interest rates will go up on. Well, if is it a fixed interest rate? So if you're paying like, well, I don't know, what is it, 5% now? It won't go up if it's fixed as the inflation raises interest rates. But yeah, you're better off paying it over time, because you're going to pay them in crap dollars. You're going to pay them in monopoly money, right? Until it goes out. So you're in no hurry to pay it, as long as you have a fixed rate on the lease or on the loan. So if it's 17,000 at 6% for 5 years, I would be in no hurry to pay it off. I don't think you need the money, and then you always have the gold and silver to fall back on. And I think by the time you're ready to pay it off, there won't be dollars anymore. There won't be those dollars. Now, will they switch it? I don't know. That's what I'm curious about. So if they come out with US dollar number 2, and things should get reduced, because that'll be a far more valuable dollar than this dollar, right? So if I owe you $1,000 in this, I'm not going to pay you $1,000. The other dollar will be much more valuable than this dollar, so it'll have to be adjusted. Not, oh well, now you still owe us 17,000, but use the new dollar, and then fuck off. It's worth a lot more than the old dollar. Just like gold, right? You bought gold at 20, let's say 2,000 an ounce. Now it's worth 20,000 an ounce. So it's worth a whole lot more now than it was. So you're paying 6.5. I'm assuming it's fixed. So as long as it's fixed, when inflation pushes rates up to 20, you'll be fine. You'll be at 6.5 using monopoly money to pay them back. So theoretically, you're fine. But I would look into buying a house with the gold, not selling the gold for dollars. What dollars are you going to use? See, well, let's look at Zimbabwe, right? The guy's carrying all these dollars, which equals $1, or Japan, where it's now a $10,000 bill, which is probably worth $2. And so that's what you have, is you have these dollars that are, that are kind of worthless. Where am I at? So, that hurts. So you have the dollars that are worthless, and that's the idea. So the monopoly money goes to zero. Oh, okay. I owe you, 500 a month or 1,000 a month of monopoly money. Here you go. And it's worthless money. And then the new money comes out, and you should get a break on it. But as long as it's fixed at 6.5, I'd be in no hurry to pay it off. Why? This way, the money you have that you could pay it off with, you can buy more gold and silver with. You can use the money to buy things versus paying down a loan that really the best thing you can do is keep the loan with inflated dollars. So next year, you make 12 payments of, let's say, $1,000 a month, 12,000. Next year, you make the same 12,000, but with inflation, it's like you're paying the guy 5,000 because the dollar's not worth anything. That was my argument with Bobby. He got so fucked on his contract. So he's getting, let's say, $1 million a year for 35 years. Well, the $1 million in the first year and the $1 million in the 10th year are not the same million. That first million's $1 million. That 10th year million's about 700,000. Now he's probably getting $200,000, not $1 million. He got fucked. He should have said, I want it in gold, or related it to the gold price. And then he would get more than the $1 million But the million he gets now and the million he got in year one are two different animals. So it looks nice, but again, the purchasing power, what will it buy? Not as much as it did in, 30 years ago. So I talked about gold not being in the Wall Street and the banks list. It's not at the meat counter. That's why they don't talk about it. So we got that. So when you go to a financial advisor on Wall Street, he's not going to tell you about gold. It's not in his menu. So understand that. You don't go to him to ask. So you're going to the wrong person to ask about it. So please understand that. That's the whole point. You're at the meat counter asking for cornflakes and Fruit Loops. What do you want them to answer? I sell meat here. So if you go to a financial advisor, he doesn't have gold on his menu. So you understand gold is the out. It's the only thing to have. So you don't even go to the financial advisor because he's not going to bring up gold. Why would he? He doesn't get commission on it. It's not a commissionable item. They sell it once to you and you hold it. So they don't have that much to sell you, right? And they can't. So you can only really sell gold physically, right? They can sell you gold stocks, which they do get commission on, but they get more commission selling Apple and Amazon than they do selling gold stocks. So that's why they're not selling the gold stock. They're pushing Amazon, not Newmont Mining. And then the ETFs they might push, those are stocks, but the actual physical gold, they'll never push because they got to get it and then they got to sell their inventory down to zero. Well, they don't even want to buy it to sell it. So they're not going to recommend it. And then it's sold once and then that's it. And they make a little commission on it versus all this derivative stuff that they sell 20 times over and make all this money on. So that's really why. So they could derivative Newmont Mining. They might do that. So you could maybe say, how about gold stocks? And then they would say something. I keep watching these commercials, tax the rich. And they're trying to knock Trump for saying, and it looked like it was out of context. It looked like he's saying, oh, yeah, sure, I'm just going to tax the rich, or I'm not going to tax the rich. I don't believe that's what he actually said. I think it's a soundbite that he's like saying, I'm going to tax you too. Of course, I'm going to tax the rich. And the whole point of the argument is skewed because you shouldn't be taxing the rich. First of all, you shouldn't be taxing anybody. You're not partners with me. You're not supposed to get my money. I worked hard for it. That's mine, and it's not income. It's your part. I painted your house. You're giving me money. You could give me tangerines instead. I wouldn't pay tax on tangerines. But you're getting your house painted, so you have to figure out how to compensate me for painting your house or mowing your lawn, and you give me money. And that's the difference. So why are you entitled to a tax? It's not income. It's for labor for services rendered. I painted the house and we traded and you gave me money for it because that's the medium of exchange. So that's a good thing. How you can get the house painted is I'll pay somebody to pay it. Now I could give them chocolate chips and I could give them sweaters and winter coats and furniture instead of money, but money is the best thing because that allows them to go take the money and buy whatever. Anyway, so that's taxing anybody's ridiculous. Taxing the rich, you should never do because the rich are what runs the country from the standpoint of look at Tesla, right? I don't really like Elon Musk. I don't like Bezos or Zuckerberg or what any of those idiots, Bill Gates. I hate them all, but what do? They have companies and they hire people. So they're good, really, for the economy. Microsoft is good. You can go work there and make a lot of money at Microsoft if you have the right skill set. Nothing wrong with that. But if we tax the rich, he can't open up a company called Microsoft or Musk cannot open up Tesla if we tax the rich. So if we don't tax the rich, he has the money to do a business, and he starts a business called Tesla or Microsoft or whatever. And then he can hire people to, people get good money working there. And that's, so you don't want to work for the government per se. You want to work for Tesla and Microsoft, and then you learn your skills and you make good money. So you don't want to tax them. They're the ones giving good jobs out, not the government. I don't want the government. Where's the government getting the money to do, where's the DOD getting money? It's just they're printing it out of thin air. That's not good. You want it to come out of that. And then the productivity is Microsoft making computers and PCs and Excel. That's productivity gains. That's how you want to make the country better. That's how you want to make the economy better. But you can't do that with the government. What's the DOD? I have a friend who works at the DOD. What does he get? Where do they get their money from? Oh, they print it. They either print worthless dollars or they take it. I don't even think they take it from tax. So this is the argument. Well, the debt's so big that half of the budget goes to the interest on the debt and the military. So really, the DOD is getting their money from the government, which is not, it's not like sales at the door. How does Microsoft get their money? Oh, you buy a computer and you buy Excel. They make a lot of money off of that, and that's how they pay their employees. So they're actually producing a product, making a sale, and then paying it out. The DOD, what's their sale? Are they making money in the Ukraine? No. So it costs them a lot of money to get all the weapons and feed all the people and get all the vehicles and airplanes and battleships and everything. That costs a lot of money. And where do they get the money from? Oh, we'll print it. So that's the problem when you have a $1 trillion a quarter going to the debt. That's now 36 trillion. You're in big fucking trouble because, so how do you pay your defense, right? And that's the problem with it. They don't produce any revenue, and Microsoft does, and that's why you want to not to tax the rich, because they make a business, they make sales, and then they go. And if they don't make sales, they should go out of business. If you do make sales, then that's how you pay your employees, and you can pay them more, and they can learn a good skill. So that's really the difference. You want private companies making money. However, if these banks are going to fail because they're idiots, they should fail. You shouldn't bail out. The word bailout's a bullshit word. Why are we bailing anybody out? It should just be like everything. Say, I hate the two different rules. If I go into business and I don't make enough money and I got to go out of business, I go out of business. Nobody bails me out. Well, good try, Howard. You tried. It didn't work. We're gonna reimburse you. But if the banks fuck up by selling bad housing loans, guess what? Well, we're gonna reimburse you for your loss because we forced you into taking the bad loans. See, you had to understand the game in '97 when Clinton did it. He forced the banks to take the poor who couldn't pay the loan back as soon as the interest rate went up. But Clinton forced them to take. So I'm Wells Fargo. I don't want to take this loan. The person has no money. They'll never be able to pay back. Well, you got to take it. So that could be why they bailed them out, but you never should have had all these real estate trusts. That was a no-no. That was a very bad thing because then people got made off, and that's the problem. But this whole bailout thing, I don't buy it. I think it's ridiculous. You lose, it's a risk to go in. This is why most people like socialism. Oh, I don't want to risk anything. I just want to live in mommy's house and the government can pay me and I'll watch video games all day. But the entrepreneurs like us, we sit there and go, oh no, we can go, I can be a financial analyst and make a lot of money. Luke can sell his thing. The brother can go with the tickets. We can come up with ways to make money. And that's the point of America. We have the free market system. And that's the advantage of the free. You can come up with any idea and go make as much money as you can. Socialism, you can. You just, the government, well, I'll give you, here's $500 a month, go ahead. And you're like, well, what the fuck? So that's the problem with the socialism. But the way they sell it is, oh, you get to sit home and do nothing. Well, where's the money coming from? See, that's the beauty of Adam Smith. You create your own money, right? Oh, you want to go learn finance, you get paid for it. Go be a salesman, you get paid for it. You want to be a doctor, you get paid for it. You want to work at a muffin shop, you get paid for it. So you create your own wealth and your own freedom and your own independence. I can do what I want because I got money, because I got a skill, and that's what I did. And that's really the point of it. That's Adam Smith. And people knocking Austrian economics don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about. That's why we want gold. We don't want inflation because it destroys all the money you made. We don't want to do that. We wanted gold back. There's no interest rate. There's no unemployment. Everybody, and you develop your skill and you get rewarded. You work hard, get rewarded. And now it's just getting ridiculous. They're just printing money and handing it out, thinking, well, nothing will happen if we just keep printing the money out. Oh, really? Okay, let's look at the I already showed you that one, the Germans printing the British pounds to death, going to flood the market and kill the British pound because they printed more. So that's why I do the inflation one of, it's how much you print is the cause of inflation, is printing the money. The effect, so the Titanic hits the iceberg, there's a boat, there's a hole in the boat. That's the cause of the Titanic sinking. The effects are all the water comes in and the boat sinks. Those are the effects of the boat, of the Titanic, but it was caused by an iceberg. So when you print all this money, is the cause is the inflation, and then it devalues the purchasing power. And then because the dollar's worth nothing, they have to raise prices to get the same amount. If I want $10 and now the dollar's worth $5, I got to charge more to get my $10 out. That's why prices go up, if they can, if the market will allow. So anyway, that's why you shouldn't, first of all, you shouldn't tax anybody. There should be no income tax. It's ridiculous. There wasn't anything until 1914. So from 1776 to 1913, there was no income tax here, and we prospered pretty well. And we're living off of that, like compound interest, for a long time, but it's all about to come to a head now. We can't afford it. The dollar's worthless. The prices are going up. Interest rates will follow. The Fed can't stop them. There's nothing they can do. It's all gone. The ship, it's like saying, yeah, we hit the iceberg and the water's coming in. Well, why don't we, we're that's the interest rates, right? So the water's coming in. Well, why don't we lower? Why don't we let more water come in? Is basically what you're saying with the interest rates. You can't lower rates. You got to raise them because the inflation, the dollar's worth less and less, and you can't plug the hole that the iceberg hit. So that's what they want to do. Plug the hole. That's the only way to get inflation down, is to plug the hole, right? I got to plug the hole to stop the water coming in, but I can't. So you can't, once you print all that money, you can't do anything about it. Yeah, you can slow spending. That's not going to help you. You can raise interest rates. That's not going to help you. I don't know why people think raising interest rates stops inflation. It doesn't. What it does is it lowers prices. So if you're measuring inflation in prices, it'll do it, but that's not the way you measure inflation. It's how much money have you printed. Why do you think the French went out in that 1795 war with British? The British printed all these French francs and dumped them, and then why didn't they stop it? Why didn't they reverse it? Why didn't they, stop the inflation? Because you can't. Once it's dumped, and you got all this money, there's no way back, right? The genie's out of the bottle, is out of the bottle. So you can't do anything. That's why the French had to burn all the money, because there's no way back. There's no way back now. your only hope for this is if you back it by gold and take it at 30,000 an ounce and pay off the fucking debt. Otherwise, you're going to seriously pay what, $1.7 trillion a year in debt every 100 days to pay off your debt. Do you have any gold? Luke thinks so. Okay, where is it? Why aren't you using it to pay off the debt if you have it? Why do you want to keep paying more and more debt off? I love how it says potential spam from Oregon. So why don't you reverse the inflation? Why don't you pull the gold out to pay for it? 32.72. All right. So why don't you do that? Because you can't. Because you don't have gold. Why aren't you buying gold? That's the question. We're keeping it low for China. Why aren't we buying it? Maybe some banks have it. I don't know. You'd like to think so. But that's what we need is gold-backed currency. And right now we don't have it. But yeah, that's the idea of gold-backed currencies. You got, I got $1,000. Let me have $1,000 of gold, and they give you the coins. But if it's a gold-backed currency, you don't need to do that because the currency itself is gold and it's fine. It's protected. It's when you have shit like this where it's not, where this is just monopoly money, right? This doesn't have a value. This is the problem. This is why you got to back it by gold. This is absolutely worthless. That's your problem. You got to have it backed by gold. So, yeah, the Canadians and the British and the U.S. are outsmarting everybody not having gold. Unbelievable. Like I said, Hitler's smarter than Biden. I love it. Or the whole U.S. That's why you feel we're run by the Chinese. Who benefits from us going out is the Chinese. They don't want U.S. dollars. They want gold. So if we go out, then they can, I don't know what they'll do. But anyway, it's really ridiculous. And anyway, so you don't want to tax anybody. You certainly don't want to tax the rich. The rich should not be taxed. Let them go spend the money. But what I would do is I would have a sales tax. So I'd get rid of the income tax. This is too many loopholes, and the babysitters don't pay, and the waitresses don't pay, and yada, yada, yada doesn't pay. So you have just a sales tax. That way, the billionaire who finds all these tax loopholes, it doesn't matter. He goes and buys something, he pays the sales tax on it. And it's a much smarter way to tax than income tax. Income tax is a joke. You need an IRS to try to cut it. You need these auditors and the tax return and all this. Just have a fucking sales tax. Or we're going to charge 5% on what you buy. So if a millionaire buys this big yacht, he pays 5% for it. And if he buys a Maserati or a Ferrari, he pays 5% for it. And the guy selling it to him is the one collecting the tax and paying it. And you audit them. You go, well, let me see your books. How much did you sell? Oh, 10 million. Then you owe how much in tax? And that's it. And that's much easier to audit a Ferrari dealership than, 10,000 people who maybe bought a Ferrari or other cars. So there's a lot less companies to audit than people. And then people aren't as worried. That's what you should do. But I'm not sure I would even have taxes. I would have a gold standard. I guarantee you that. But that's the only way out is to have your dollar backed by gold or you're fucked. So right now we're kind of fucked. And we will see. Anyway, let's go through the baseball, what we chose. Baltimore under 8. The Yankees over 8. Philly under 9.5. The Mets, Kansas City in game 2. They already started. Houston, Texas, and Atlanta over 9. All these are for 3 units. I didn't find anything really worth a bigger bet. These are just, just for fun. I mean, I bet them, but they're very small bets. 2372. We're moving. We're going on up. What's today? Wednesday. I lose track. So hopefully by Friday, we're back in the 2400s. But the problem is keeping it there because they'll still derivative it down. So as long as you understand that this is paper and its derivatives are making it go down, not selling, not profit taking, or that's all bullshit. I love when these idiots are talking about profit taking. I swear they must listen to my video because I'll say something like Titanic or like there's no profit taking, it's derivatives, and then they start talking about it. But 2 weeks before, I don't hear any of that shit. Anyway, food for thought. Anything else? The tax the rich, gold's not in the portfolio. So again, you don't go to a bank to sell your gold, and you don't go to a guy off the street. Go to a store that sells gold and silver. Normally your guy, you can come here, and that guy's 5 miles away, and I'll take you in there and you can sell all the gold you want. He'll give you a check for it, I believe. No questions asked. They'll do it in 5 minutes. As long as you have normal gold, Cougarans, Maple Leafs, dollars, Buffaloes, and it says 1 ounce of gold on it, and it's a regular coin, and you're not, fucking around with it. Yeah, he'll take it because he's going to sell it to me down the road. See, and then that's what you got to realize: as the gold goes up and up and up, people won't be able to afford it. Silver is money; they'll buy the silver, which is still sitting at 30 an ounce, and they're wondering, well, why isn't silver going up? Well, it's not going up because they're price fixing it, because this is not a real market. This is a paper market done with derivatives. As the price goes up, they do put derivatives, put options to lower the price. When the price hits the bottom and they sell it, then it goes back up. And it just does this because they're trying to make money on the options. They're really, the point of having the gold physical is not even in the idea. This is the biggest Ponzi scheme I've ever seen. It's disgusting. Why isn't there a real price of real gold physical? I have no idea, but it's definitely a lot higher, at least 10 times higher than this shit. I mean, because explain this derivative, right? So explain the derivative at 10 o'clock, going from 2386 down. What is that? So people sold their gold? Are you kidding me? No fucking way. That's a derivative. That's an option. It is not reality. Those are just options. He needs to actually have the gold to sell it, and nobody's selling their gold. A few people at my store where they go and sell it so I can buy it cheap, but that's about it. All right, I think that's it. Today's Wednesday, so we see gold 2372. Silver at 3085, and we will go from there. So I guess that's about it. Any other questions or comments before I don't know what I'm scared to eat. I'm getting this pain in my side. I didn't eat. I had some blackberries. Anyway, so that's about it. Understand everything. Understand you can't go to a financial advisor and ask him about gold because it's not on his menu. So he's not being mean. He just isn't. That's not what they sell. So again, it's like going to the meat department and asking for Fritos. It's not what they eat. I sell meat here. That's it. So you can't bitch because why aren't you talking about Fritos? All you can do is go buy meat at the meat counter, and you can buy stocks at the meat counter at Wall Street, but you can't buy gold at the counter at Wall Street. They don't sell it, so they're not going to talk about it. Doesn't mean they don't understand it. They do, but it's not what they sell. Anyway, I guess that's it. www.teaserking.com. Oh, I don't like this tightness when I yawn. All right. Well, have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I get a good night's sleep. I didn't get off till about 3 o'clock in the morning there's just this pain that got worse at night. Then it finally subsided. I go to sleep, and I slept till about 10:30 when the girls were waking me up. Although they woke me up at like 7 o'clock, and that's it. So have a great day. If you got questions, feel free to ask. You're welcome, Luke. I think I'm going to pay the car off fast. Well, it is what it is. But you are gonna, the longer you wait, you pay it off with inflated dollars. So the dollars are worth less if you wait. But it's your comfort level. If you rather, but keep in mind, you could be paying it off. You could be buying gold and silver with the money used to pay off the 17,000. Well, nobody wants a payment, but if you're using the money for gold and silver, then that's better than the payment. But it's all got to be your psychological attitude of, I don't want a payment, so I want to pay it off. So that's fine. I mean, you can do that too, get it all paid off, and you don't have to worry about the debt. But in the future with the house, I'd be buying it with gold. I wouldn't trade in the gold for dollars and then take the dollars to buy the house if you can. We'll talk about that when it gets closer. But as the dollar goes out, the gold will buy you the house because it'll be the only game in town, the only lifeboat. All right, I am out. Have a good night, everybody, and take care. All right, I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 3-ish, right around there. I've been going to the club a little later, so I need to get home and kind of relax and then do this. So that's what I did. All right, take care. Have a nice night.